right. Hi, yogis. I'm Elizabeth Hubbell, and I will be your guide today. And throughout the month of June, we've been working on play. It's summertime, it's playtime. Love to get outside. And so for this particular flow, we're working on side crow. So if side crow's in your practice, you'll have lots of opportunities to do it. If side crow's new to you, you'll have lots of opportunities just to kind of dip your toe in. Certainly no pressure. I am a guide, so my cues are suggestions. If anything doesn't feel good in your body or feels dangerous, like you're not ready for it, by all means, don't do it. You know your body better than anyone else. So let's get started in a seated position, just an easy seat. Notice which leg is on top or in front. And just take a second to get settled. Bring your shoulders back and down, tall, dignified spine. Rest your hands in a comfortable position. And just take a few deep breaths. Inhale. And exhale, let it all go. Another inhale. And let it all go. So we'll start with a hip stretch just by leaning forward. Oh. Hey, welcome. Akshata, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Let me know if not. I'm Elizabeth Hubbell. I'll be your guide today. I'll start my spiel again. Throughout the month of June, we're working on play. So playful poses, not taking ourselves too seriously. So this particular flow works us towards side crow. So if side crow's in your practice, you'll have lots of opportunities to practice it. If it's not, you'll have a chance just to get to know what that pose is. I'll show you the full pose. But by all means, if I'm offering anything that doesn't feel safe or not quite ready for it, you know your body better than anyone else. So listen to your body. But here's what we're working towards is side crow. Like that. So I'll work us towards that. Hi, welcome. Shreya, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I'm Elizabeth Hubbell. I'll be your guide. And all of my poses are just suggestions. Again, if anything doesn't feel right in your body, you know your body better than anyone else. So if something doesn't feel right, by all means, make modifications. So come to a seated position, comfortable seat. Notice which leg is in front or on top. Place your hands somewhere comfortable. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Another inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. So you both have your cameras off, and that's totally fine. Just know that I can give you better feedback if I can see you, but I understand if you need your cameras off. We'll start with a hip stretch. So lean forward, making sure you're leaning from your heart, not crunching over. So lead with your heart. Just get a hip stretch, stretching out forward. Walk your hands over to one side and to the other side. Come back up and switch legs. So whatever was on top or in front switches, lean forward again. Walk your hands over to, starting with the opposite side that you went to first last time. And then to the other side here. And come up. We'll take a few seated cat-cows as you inhale. Lift your heart, lift your chin. Not so much that you crick your neck. So you get a heart opener. Inhale. Exhale, round your spine. Chin to chest. Inhale. Cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Just warming up our spine. Come back to neutral. Place one hand on the mat, lift the other hand overhead. Get a good side stretch, feeling the space between all 12 of your ribs. It can help to look up at your arm so you're not crunching over. Inhale to come up to the other side again, creating space between our ribs, space for our lungs. We'll take a twist, placing opposite hand, opposite knee, placing the other hand behind you and looking over your shoulder behind you as much as is comfortable. And switch, opposite hand, opposite knee. Other hand comes behind you. A few more seated stretches before we get moving. Wide leg forward fold. We all seem to have those particular stretches that don't feel good, and this is one of mine, which means I need to do it more. So wide leg forward fold. Pardon?
I skip this one.
Leaning forward with your heart. If it feels good, bring your hands to the front.
I will skip too. I have some like a meeting at 1:30. So yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
I was talking about this particular position, but yeah.
Okay, I'm having trouble hearing you, but I think you're saying you're skipping this pose. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, no worries. Bring your feet out in front to a wide leg forward or to a forward fold. Your hands can come to the mat, to your shins, or if the foot rep's available, feel free to do that. And lastly, a quick wrist stretch. Not only to prep us in case you want to do crow, but also to undo all the stiffness we get sitting at computers or typing on our phones. So I'm stretching my hands back towards my wrist and down, and then flipping them over and again back and up.
Just a question. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can ask right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like my right hand is kind of like stiff compared to my left hand. Like for that particular position, I'm not able to bend my right arm. Like the joint, like from the hand to the arm, it's kind of stiff. So can you suggest like, yeah, this thing? So the other way around, like when you lift it up on the upside.
This way?
Yeah, so this is kind of stiff, and I want to like make sure that I think there was kind of injury or something while lifting up the weights. So can you suggest some like exercise to loosen it up?
Wrist rolls are really good, and make sure you're changing directions. Like this, and then switch. Those are really good. And then the stretches I was just doing gently. Those help. And then if you'll bear with me 1 second. If you have access to really light weights, so these are 3 pounds. But if you want to build up some of those muscles, that'll also release some of the tension as you start to build up that strength in your muscles. So little 3 pound weights can be good.
So is it like so that's what I feel like it's something in the joints, like on the hand, not the muscle. But yeah, I'm sure like I want to try this out, and I'm trying like out for a long time. But yeah, I mean, thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah, and definitely definitely get a doctor's opinion. I know I have some nerve damage from a really bad golf swing I did once. So yeah, I know what you're saying about some of that stiffness. So so I'm not a trained, I'm not in the medical profession, so be sure and get a professionals. But yeah, just some of those wrist rolls and some little weights can help you.
And sorry for the video, like I'm just not in the, next time I'll be better prepared for the video.
Okay, since you're my only student, yeah, we can work on whatever you want. I have a sun A, then we're going to go into a chair, a few balance poses just to get us moving. Is that what you want to work on, or is there something particular you want to work on?
So I mean, this is kind of like a first or like second time I'm trying it out, so I don't have anything in my head. But I mean, again, like I might have to drop like in next 10 to 15 minutes as well. But
Okay.
yeah, sure. I mean, let's do the routine because I just trying to use to yoga. Like I've never done yoga or meditation before, so
That's
I
great to know.
I'll just follow you.
Okay. That's good to know. Then let's skip side crow. That's it's fun to play around, but I think it's good if you're new to yoga just to get some movements in. So we can come to the top of your mat, and we'll first just stand in mountain pose and check your posture. See if there's a direct line between your ear, your shoulder, your hip, your knee, and your ankle. I find that I sometimes need to tuck in my tailbone. I need to pull my shoulders back because, like everyone else, it's easy to slump over.
That's one thing I want to fix, and my wife is behind me all the time, like fix our shoulders.
And yeah, really feeling those shoulder blades behind your back. One cue my favorite yoga teacher says is pretend you're trying to put a pencil between your shoulder blades behind you.
Oh, yeah.
And that really brings my shoulders back. And then inhale, bring your arms all the way up. Inhale. And then exhale, fold forward. And we call this ragdoll. Just kind of let yourself hang. Feel free to have a bend in your knees so you're really getting some hamstring stretches. It can feel good to grasp opposite elbows and just sway. And bring your feet together. Inhale, halfway lift, so you're making an L shape with your body, like you're looking over the edge of a cliff. Again, pinching shoulders back. Equal weight on your toes and heels.
Kind of tough, like when my hamstrings are like stretching and controlling my shoulder blades.
So does this feel good?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not been stretched yet for a while, I guess. Their body's stiff, so I mean, I started working out for a bit. So.
Okay. And inhale, come all the way up. I'm catching some of what you're telling me, but I think I'm missing a little bit of what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, so I have earphones on, but I just, go on. I just follow you.
Okay. Let's go down into a long plank. So stepping back, lots of strength between the top of your head and your heels. Being careful not to come up like a mountain and being careful not to dip down. That's really hard on your back. So picture yourself as a board. And then bring your knees down and tuck your toes and slowly lower to the mat. And then we'll come up into a baby cobra. So baby cobra is just the top part of your chest coming off the mat, looking straight ahead, not up, and little to no weight in your hands. So see if you can lift your hands. So really focusing on glute strength and back strength here.
That's like a Superman stretch. I have done this one.
Yeah. And then exhale, come back down to the mat. And then we'll lift into our first downward dog. So downward dog, don't worry about your knees being straight. Don't worry about your heels touching the mat. Really focus on the straight line between the crown of your head and your tailbone, pushing your heart back. And this should feel good. And then walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Fold forward and come all the way up. All right, since I know you just got 2 more minutes, Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Inhale, come to chair pose. So sitting back like you're sitting on a chair. Arms, biceps up by your ears if you can. Again, equal weight on your toes and heels. Drawing in your belly. We won't stay here long because I know it's an intense pose. Exhale, fold forward.
Just a question. So your not knees, your legs, what do you call it? The palm of the legs, are they bent? I can't see that.
Yep. Yeah, your legs are bent like you're about to sit down in a chair.
No, not the legs, but the ankles. Are they like bent or are they flat on the surface?
My ankles? In chair pose?
Sorry, not the ankles. I'm not okay. No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Skip that.
Okay.
I'll just do it.
Yeah, feet are flat. There we go. Exhale, fold forward.
Feet,
Yeah.
exactly.
Feet are flat. Once you get really used to this pose, you can go into a balance where you lift your heels. But I wouldn't worry about that right now. Really just focusing on the basic poses right now.
Mm.
After you fold forward, step back into plank again. You can put your knees down if you like. Slowly lower to your belly. Come up into cobra. You can raise a little higher if that feels good on your back. Keep your elbows bent and behind you and shoulders away from your ears. Exhale down to the mat. Inhale back up to downward dog. And again, don't worry about legs being straight or heels on the ground. Just that strong straight back, tailbone to the crown of your head. Nice. Walk your feet forward. Inhale to come up. Let's get another stretch into wide leg forward fold. My toes are facing the side of the mat. My legs are about double hips distance. So I still feel solid, but I'm getting a nice stretch here. Hands on your hips, leading with your heart. Fold forward and stop halfway and just see how that feels. And you're welcome to stay here halfway, or if it feels good, let your head drop, your hands drop, and just kind of hang in a wide leg forward fold. How does this feel for you?
A little bit like body is very stiff.
Very stiff. Okay.
Yeah.
It's great then. I love that you're here.
I mean, next time I hope that I should be better prepared. So I think I'm going to drop off right now. I'm sorry, if I can do that in the class, but it's that's too much for me for the day.
Okay.
I just don't want to overstress my body, my muscles.
Okay. That sounds great. All right.
Okay. Thank you. I'll see you again maybe in the next class, better prepared. Thanks. I really like the experience.
All right. Love to see you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So that was 20 minutes. This is a 30-minute flow. So I'm going to improvise for the next 10 minutes for anyone who's watching the video and wants to continue. So we were in a wide leg forward fold. Plant your left hand down to the mat. Lift the other arm up to the sky. Get a nice twist. And then switch. Bring your right hand to the mat. Lift the other arm up to the sky. And come down. Hands on your hips, come all the way up with a flat back. And we'll take this wide leg forward fold into triangle. So I'm turning these toes towards the front of my mat. The other toes stay leaning to the side of the mat. Bend deeply into that front leg. We're kind of practicing warrior two here. Straighten that front leg, bring your arms up to a T, and lean forward like someone's pulling your hand, and then bring it down as far as it's comfortable. It can rest on your shin. A block is really nice here, so you get good alignment. And try to imagine you're doing this pose against a wall. So everything's as flat as it can be along the same plane. I'm not like leaning forward. I'm not leaning back. Solid plank. This is triangle pose. Nice. Turn your feet so that all of your toes are facing the front of your mat, and come into pyramid. Blocks are good here on both sides if you need. So flat back. It should be a good hamstring stretch here. Then we'll launch from this pyramid pose into a standing split on the left leg. So you kind of bend and get ready, and then launch. That right leg lifts into the air. Slowly bring that leg back. Come back to the side of your mat with your toes, hands on your hips, and we'll do the other side. So turn your toes towards the back of the mat. Get a deep lunge here. You can keep your hands on your hips, or you can take it into warrior two if you like, whatever feels good. Straighten that front knee. Reach forward like someone's pulling that hand, and then come down. And again, a block is nice here for triangle pose. Love this stretch. Turn these toes so that all of your toes are facing the back of the mat. This is pyramid pose. Again, blocks are nice here. And then get ready to launch into a standing split on your right leg, or the opposite leg you did first. Good job. Slowly bring that leg down. Turn back towards the side of the mat. Turn your toes out, your heels in, and sink into goddess. Also horse pose. Feel free to find stillness, or if rocking a little bit, pulsing feels better, feel free to do that. We'll hold this for 2 more breaths, really building strength in quads, glutes, and hamstrings. Bring your hands to your knees in a C grip, like that. Dip one shoulder forward while you look backward over the other shoulder, getting a little twist here. Inhale back to center, do the other side. Inhale back to center. And root to rise, come on. Nice. And we'll come down, nothing fancy, we'll just come down to a seated position. And we'll come into last poses of the practice, pigeon pose. Whichever leg you want to start with. Your shin does not need to be parallel with the front of your mat. Mine certainly isn't, mine's tucked in more. Make sure this is not painful to your knees. Some people find pigeon really painful. If you do, you can go into a 90-90 or 45-45 like this. Both of your legs bent. I'm going to stay in half pigeon. It can also help to have a block under the bent leg glute. It kind of squares your hips better. If it feels good, slowly come down. You can come to your forearms. You can come onto stacked wrist. Or stacked fists. or all the way to the mat. Whatever feels good here. And this can be an intense stretch, so think about where else you can release. Can you release your jaw, your forehead, your neck, your shoulders? Using your hands, come up. If you have a block, remove that. And slowly roll that back leg over so that you're in a one leg, getting ready for a one leg forward fold. Inhale to come up and fold over what was your straight back leg. Your hands don't need to come to your feet. They can come to your shin, your knee, the mat, or a foot grab if that feels good. Come up and reset for a moment and then take that forward fold into a side stretch. So now I'm facing the side of the mat, getting a long stretch fingertip to hip on this side. Inhale to come up. And we're ready to do the other side. So bend the leg that was straight. You can stretch the other leg long behind you, or again, come into a 45-45 or 90-90. You used a block on the other side, use it on this side. You can stay here or begin to come forward, resting on your forearms, stacked wrists, or all the way to the mat. Whatever feels good without forcing. And again, see where else you can release. So push yourself up. If you use a block, remove that. And again, roll that back leg over. So you're in a one leg forward fold. Raise your arms up and come over. Your hands can go to your calves, knees, the mat, or a foot grab that's available. Again, no straining. Yoga should feel good. Even the hard poses should feel good. Inhale, come up, reset briefly, and turn this into a side stretch. Inhale, come up. Last pose before our seated Shavasana is a supported fish pose. This is something I use, especially if I've been at my computer for a long time. I tend to kind of hunch over. This helps me open up my ribs, my heart space, get those shoulder blades back. And so I have it on the lowest setting, depending on how limber your back is. You might have it on the medium or even the highest setting. I have mine on the lowest setting. And I'm going to place the edge of the block right behind my heart. So higher than you would think. If we put it lower, we tend to possibly strain our lower backs. So have it right behind your sternum. Make sure it feels good. You can bring another block with you for your head if you like. Kind of making a T, capital T. And relax. Just let gravity do the work. Really opening up our chest here. And actually, I think we'll close the practice just like this. Stay here as long as you like. Or if you're ready to go into Shavasana, you can remove the block I'm going to close just like this. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again.